I've been looking at the Google leaks, the documents that came out from Zach Voorhees, the whistleblower. And I was looking at this psychological research folder, and inside that folder is this paper here. Algorithmic Discrimination from an Environmental Psychology Perspective, Stress-Inducing Differential Treatment. And here's the spoiler. I think Google's whole business model is stress. Stress sells. Stress makes a lot of money. Let's look at the paper, okay? Here's the intro where they talk about sexism, racism, and other forms of discrimination are being built into the machine learning algorithms. And this creates stress, and the psychological discomfort resulting from algorithmic discrimination is similar to that which results from being in a physically stressful situation. They talk about the cognitive, emotional, and physical consequences of stress. And here, the National Institute of Health talks about heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and other illnesses, as well as mental disorders, digestive problems, headaches, sleep problems, weight gain, memory, and concentration impairment. All of these are results of stress. Who pays Google? Where does Google get its money? It doesn't get it from me and you, does it? It gets it from huge companies and NGOs. Both corporations and NGOs, they benefit from stress. NGOs wouldn't exist if there wasn't tension and stress and civil disorder. They just wouldn't exist. Their business model is built on misery. Big pharma and retailers, psychologists, luxury items, vacations, they all benefit from stress. People, they don't call it retail therapy for nothing, right?
Buying things can actually be a therapeutic experience.
And if you do it too much, there are therapists for that.
So, let's circle back around. Algorithmic discrimination, this paper that Google wrote. Look, algorithmic discrimination may exist. I'm sure it does, However, it's not a problem that has any longevity. This is not a known problem. It's new. So they couldn't use, in their study, they couldn't use science that focused on the results of algorithmic discrimination because it's so new. So they had to find other things to compare it to that are similar. The main thing they turned to was environmental psychology, stress-inducing environmental situations. They're telling their people over at Google, hey, we want to make sure we're not inducing stress. So let's go out and write a paper. We'll get all the best research together on how it is that certain situations stress people out and how they react to this stress. So they told their people they're going to use this to reduce stress. But I ask you, since this paper was written, September 2016, has the general stress level around us, the ambient environmental stress level, gone up or down? Do you think? I could be wrong, but I believe everyone is way more stressed out than they were prior to September 2016. That's what I think. I wanted to back up my assertion here with some hard evidence. So I went looking for statistics on SSRIs, antidepressants, any kind of antidepressant use in the States. I wanted to see a chart of usage. Guess what? The last one they produced, the last data that they are using for this is 2016. They haven't published up-to-date data on that. I can't find it anywhere. And I put it out on Twitter and nobody else could find it either. The National Health Service in Britain, the NHS, the British Medical Journal published their latest stats, which are from 2019. And 2019 is a record year in Britain. More prescription drugs prescribed than ever. And my argument is that while they're telling their people they want to decrease stress, what they actually want to do is increase stress. Let me take you to the best evidence from this paper. Okay, here it is. They're talking about an environmental stressor that is comparable to algorithmic discrimination. And the sample they used was crowding on subway cars. Here's the study. Andrews and her colleagues studied the behavior of people on subway cars that were assessed as more or less likely to feel crowded based on the number of people present. The team worked with data from one of the world's largest telecom providers who can gauge physical crowdedness in real time in terms of the number of active mobile users in subway trains. They report that the telecom provider randomly sent targeted mobile ads to individual users, and based on a sample of 15,000, give or take, mobile phone users, the results suggest that, counterintuitively, commuters in crowded subway trains are about twice as likely to respond to a mobile offer by making a purchase versus those in non-crowded trains. As increased crowding invades one's physical space, people adaptively turn inwards and become more susceptible to mobile ads. That, to me, is a stunning revelation. Think of it if you are a retailer, and there's fewer and fewer retailers now. Think if you're Amazon. All of your stuff is done online. Think of your Alibaba. All of your stuff is done online. All you have to do is make people stressed and have them trapped with their mobile phone as their only relief. And you can sell them any old garbage. It's very evil. It's very evil. We've got a formula that looks like this. Crowded subway trains with mobile phone users. Algorithms that know when this person is on the crowded subway train. It sends them an ad for $27 ugly socks. And cha-ching, the global overlords laugh all the way to the bank. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Alibaba, Jack Ma, everybody that is acting like a predator and sucking up the whole world right now, they love it. They love your misery. Who else is on board with this, does it look like? I'll tell you who, the UN. What is this? Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. They have 17 goals, and I'm not going to talk about all of them. However, they all revolve around the same sort of thing. We have to get people to behave differently. Look at agenda item number 11 out of these 17, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Here's their little blurb on achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 11. It requires a fundamental shift in the thinking on transport with the focus on goal of transport rather than on its means. Priority is given to making cities more compact. Cities will have to move away from car-based travel to public transport. The UN Habitat is going to help these guys while making us more and more miserable. And the good employees at Google who put together this study, they've drawn a roadmap to exactly how and when to stress people out, to get them to do what these big money oligarchs and these world-dominating NGOs want them to do. There's more in this paper. Stress has been linked to degraded mood and interactions with others, such as reduced altruism and increased aggression and competitiveness. When people are threatened, they are more likely to feel uncomfortable, hostile, aggressive, and angry. As a result, people who experience algorithmic discrimination may be more likely to display negative online behaviors such as aggression or hostility. And then when these people do display those emotions, they get censored. You know what gaslighting is? Gaslighting is basically denying reality to someone. Like if you were to steal their car keys right in front of them, and then they say, give me back my car keys, and you stick to this story that you don't have their car keys. Eventually, that person will start to crack. They doubt themselves. They're like, well, why would he lie about something so obvious? Right? That sort of thing. That's gaslighting. And when you think about how stuff has gone in terms of shootings that they choose to report and make a big deal of, and shootings that they don't choose to report and make a big deal of, you can see why. You can see that one fits the narrative, and they're consistently ignoring, let's say, black shooters, but they're always focusing on white shooters. I don't mean to make a racial divide here, but that's just simply the facts of what the news media does and what the social media companies do as well. It's just the facts. That's gaslighting. It's also known as the Alice in Wonderland technique when they do it over and over and there's multiple co-conspirators trying to make you feel crazy. It's called the Alice in Wonderland technique. I've talked about it before in another video. I'll link to it in the description box. But it's designed to break your will. It's designed to make you go into a state of helplessness and basically give up on the idea that the world makes sense. Ask yourself if you have felt like that more or less since 2016. Has that gotten worse or better since 2016? This feeling of unreality. Remember, the study was done September 2016. There's so many examples of this gaslighting and Alice in Wonderland technique happening through social media that it's impossible to show them all. But let me just show you a few things. That the autofill in Google is one of the weapons that they use in this. Men can have babies now, get pregnant, can have periods. Women can fly. Here's some more. Conservatives are finished. Conservatives are Democrats. Liberals are what party? Here's my favorite one. AOC is better than TV, awesome, a socialist, blah, blah. Trump is Republican, Israel, a horse in a hospital. That is psychological manipulation. That is the Alice in Wonderland technique. That is gaslighting. One or two incidences of it don't really affect you, but when it's going on constantly from every direction, it does. Now, would that stress people out or would it calm them down, do you think? So is Google the worst ever at implementing their own study? Or was the point of the study to figure out how to stress people out and then do it? They do it when you search white couple with baby. They gaslight you and show you all kinds of non-white couples with babies. So you see how they're like pushing buttons? What's the title of this paper again? Stress-inducing differential treatment. I'm sure they told the good people who put that study together that they were hoping to avoid stress-inducing differential treatment. But they are sucking at it. They're not very good at it, right? By the way, it's not just against white people. See, everybody, when they're stressed like this, is going to think it's just them. But check out what happens if you put in couple with baby, no qualifier. If you just put in couple with baby to Google Images, you get this. So imagine how it feels if you aren't white and you see that. You're going to say, oh, there's discrimination. And yet, if you put in white couple with baby and you get this, you're going to say, not only is there discrimination, but they're totally messing with my head. And it's not just Google. Here's the DuckDuckGo results, everybody who comes around and tells me, use DuckDuckGo. It's all the same. They're all in on it. They're all doing the same thing. And why? Because stress makes money. Big pharma, big medicine, retail therapy. It's proven. People buy more when they're stressed. They're more susceptible to mobile ads when they're stressed. So big tech is working along with telecoms, and they're making all their money by stressing you out. And then when you're stressed, you do crazy things. You gamble, you drink, you have affairs, you buy expensive toys, you take vacations, you escape, you watch their crappy shows on Netflix and cable TV. You also believe their lies. Because if they do this enough to you, if they stress you out enough, if they gaslight you enough, if they show you crazy, insane results like this, and like Trump is a horse in a hospital, eventually you just crack and you're like, it's all out of control. I don't know which end is up. Everybody's gone mad, and you retreat. With people in these different states, they are much more easily controlled. One of the things that happens to people when they're in this stress, these stressful situations, is that they get reactive. It's something called reactance in psychology. This is from the paper again. When people feel their life experiences are being unfairly curtailed, reactance may set in. In psychology, reactance is an unpleasant motivational arousal to offers, persons, rules, or regulations that threaten or eliminate specific behavioral freedoms. Reactance occurs when a person feels that someone or something is taking away their choices or limiting the range of alternatives. So when Google blacklists search terms, do you think this induces reactance? I do. But they claim they want to lessen psychological stress. When they make sure certain websites don't show up in Google search, would that limit people's freedoms? Would it cause reactance? I think it would. When they change or remove word definitions, like they did with Covfefe, when they mess with shadow banning and deleting tweets and deleting Facebook posts and suspending users without telling them why, do you think that reduces stress or that it accelerates stress? Google is lying to its employees when it tells them that it has an altruistic motive. Google is using the good nature and compassion and best intentions of its employees, its engineers, its researchers, its designers, its admins, its marketing executives. Everybody is being lied to at Google, at YouTube, probably at Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, everywhere. Their business model is stress. And because they can control our access to information, because they control the messaging and the timing of every bit of information that we receive, they can put us all into states of stress like that. And then what happens? Then they guide you into the behavior that they want, whether it's buying a pair of ugly socks while you're trapped on the subway, or writing your congressman outraged at whatever they're telling you to be outraged about, at maybe lashing out against your fellow humans who are also feeling totally stressed and discriminated against. They're pitting us all one against each other. They are making us sick. They're interfering in our lives. They're putting us into a state of learned helplessness, all so that they can sell us crap and medicate us. Google employees, YouTube employees, big tech employees in general. Mutiny. For real. Read your own documents and then ask yourself if it's working. If they really mean that they want to reduce stress by changing these algorithms and pressing these buttons, ask yourself if you're failing at your mission or not. And then remind yourself that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You might not be ready to believe that Google means to do this, but can you see that that is what it is doing? I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll leave references in the description box, along with my paypal.me information. If you would like to make a contribution to my work, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please leave a thumbs up. Please share. Please comment. And till next time, peace out.